This is the Voice of the Land podcast with your hosts, Kevin Arnold and Nick Paulus.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome on in to another edition of the Voice of the Land podcast. This is Season 3, Episode 20, and if you are watching our YouTube channel episode edition right now, do not adjust your phone screen, tablet, anything that you're watching on right now, because yes, we are back in studio here today. We got the social distancing going on still. We are still adhering to all the guidelines, but with everything kind of opening up, we figured, why not? Why not give it a go to come back to the studio this week? Of course, we are partnered with Web Streaming Studio by LPV and NEO Sports Network. Of course, you can find our YouTube channel at Voice of the Land Podcast. Subscribe, like, get all of our video content, all of our fun clips, and full show pods there on YouTube. And, of course, find the podcast episodes every single week posted on all your favorite podcast platforms, including the traditional big three of Google, Spotify, and Apple. Apple Podcast users, of course, hit that review, hit those 5 stars, leave us with some comments, what you like, what you don't like, what do you want to hear moving forward. And, of course, you can always hit us up with those same comments on social media at VTL_POD, at VTL_pod on Twitter and Instagram. Head over to Facebook at Voice of the Land, hit that like button, and reach out to us. Let us know what you like. We always have stuff posted. And you can always find Paulus at CLE_Paulus, myself at Kevin7 on Twitter. And just reach out, let us know what you like, have some conversations, whether it's sports, movies, whatever you like. You know we talk about as much as we can. There's not a lot of sports still going on, so we got to fill the time the way we can. Of course, I am always joined by my brother, Nick Paulus. Paulus, how is it going, man?
It's going pretty well. Right before, this is the weekend before my wife and I's anniversary, so it's going to be our 2-year anniversry. Hello, Kelly. She's actually
here. You don't have to do this.
I don't have to do that. She's actually in the studios today. But so week before 2-year anniversary, we're going to be going down to Hawking Hills, a little cabin. It's going to be a lot of fun down there. So
I've heard that's a good place, and I
love it.
I've never had a chance to go, but there's plans in the works if we can get
fantastic down there. I mean, we have a hot tub. We have our own little grill. It's a nice little setup down there. So we're gonna have a lot of fun down there. Can't wait for it. There's a wine, like a winery down there that we always like going down there for. They do these peach slushies.
Yeah.
Fantastic. They're so damn good. And then there's, we actually found the last time that we were down there last year, there was a little brewery down there as well, just started up. So hopefully, they made it through, COVID there for us. And, we're hoping to, snag a couple of beers there as well.
So happy early anniversary to you guys, because I won't see you next week.
I was going to say, I'm going to be gone next week. So maybe you might have a special guest or.
Working on it. Trying to figure things out, and then, of course, people are going to, the next couple weeks, they're going to have to really enjoy this one of you and me together on this one, because the next couple weeks, you're out one week, and I'm going to be out the next week. Right. So, both of us kind of taking a little bit of time now that things are opening up to get out and, have a little bit of fun, just kind of those 3-day or long weekend type reprieves,
That's right.
That nice relaxation spending with people we love, and just enjoying the nice time as we get into the summer months. It doesn't feel like summer today.
No, it's a little chilly out there. It's like 63, 65 right now. So, it's early in the morning, though. So
right. I think it was like 50-something when I woke up, 57, 50, or 55 when I woke up this morning. So that was weird, but it did help having the windows open to kind of get the humidity out of the apartment, because we only have one air conditioning unit in the living room. It doesn't really extend out to the rest. We got to get the window AC set up for the next humid break. Oh, wow.
Whoa, look at that.
Oh, phone's already blowing up.
Blowing up.
Oh, my goodness. We come back in studio, and we already got
mistakes already abound us.
It's all right.
Abound us. Something going on.
And that notification really threw you off, didn't it?
It did. It really did throw me off.
And, of course, we are also joined by our producer extraordinaire behind the traditional proverbial glass in his traditional spot here on the podcast. Peter Tellup. Peter, how's it going?
It's going good. I've missed this seat. I've been working from home for like the last 11, 12 weeks, and so sitting in that chair Monday through Friday and then coming in to do the podcast, I'm like, man,
Probably going to sneak that chair out, huh?
I need to get a new chair is what I need. That chair is
It's what we need as
me.
well. Yeah, we got. It's like a little. It feels like it's like a $25 seat.
Yeah.
In our little room back at home. So yeah, no, these seats are clutch right now. So that's for sure.
Yeah, I was able to finagle the recliner to my workstation, but
Nice.
not to where I was doing the podcast in the apartment or try to set it up when I was at my old house either to get like a nice comfortable chair. So I was always like upright and everything.
Sitting straight up. And,
Yeah. So everybody's going to see me kind of relaxed today, and then you're going to see that moving forward, as long as we're back in the studio, because I like this chair and how it nice reclined and
Right.
helps my back because I got a lot of back problems. So I'm going to take full advantage of being back in this chair here today. Of course, on today's podcast, we are going to get into some Browns topics. Baker talked this week. He's been, talking very little, and we'll get into kind of all that because he made comments in reference to that. We'll get into that. Jadeveon Clowney as well. Have some Browns conversation. Is he saying no? Is it just he's waiting for another offer as he's recovering from injury? Just kind of allowing this unknown time to just maybe set a market for him that may not even be there.
Right.
We'll get into all that. And, of course, basketball has some options to come back. Baseball may not. They have options, but they may not come back for financial reasons. We will talk about that. And, of course, we did tease our top 5 movies last week. We will make sure we close out with that. However, we did want to make sure that we did start our conversation today with the events that have transpired this week and just kind of some brief conversation on it, because it is important that we do address this. Of course, George Floyd, who was unfortunately was killed in a police stop, police altercation this week in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and all of the protests, riots that have kind of broken out, not just in Minnesota, but across the country. Paulus, I just want to I'll start with you. We'll go around the table here. Just your thoughts on this, the George Floyd situation, similar to what we've seen, unfortunately, in other cases throughout, Eric Garner,
Yes.
guys like that. Even, kids, Tamir Rice here in Cleveland.
Yeah, right here in our own backyard.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, still these events still transpiring in our country. Just your thoughts on that and how the country is responding to it.
It's very tough right now. Being, us 3 white guys. I mean, we're looking at it from in a view that we couldn't even imagine. It just has to stop. I mean, it just plain and simple. I mean, the police brutality that is going on against African Americans in this country is appalling. I mean, and I'm looking right at the camera right now. We need this to stop. I mean, there's no doubt. I mean, what happened in Minnesota, 5 days ago? I mean, is appalling. The fact that the guy was right on his freaking neck. I mean, it's tough to talk about because I mean, we're all human. But they're putting him down like they're freaking dogs. Like they're putting him down like an animal that needs to be put out of its misery, and that is so far from what the world needs right now. This is appalling, and it's not just this event. I mean, you spoke about it, with other cases as well. It's been an epidemic forever. That has been going on. It is just sad that we don't know how to come together. And there are, peaceful protests, and there's been, riots as well. I mean, Minnesota looks like a war zone right now.
Yes.
I mean, it is devastating. Atlanta, even in our own backyard in Canton, SWAT actually ended up going down there. I mean, tear gas was shot. People were getting hit with rubber bullets. I mean, it is a strange, sad, eerie, god-awful feeling that we're looking at right now. I don't know. we've been looking at these peaceful protests, and Colin Kaepernick, I mean, this was Colin Kaepernick's stance, against police brutality for minorities, especially, African Americans that are getting essentially gunned down in the streets. It is just a ridiculous thing that has been going on forever, and it needs to stop. And I don't know the best way to handle this. I don't think that riots are the thing that should be going on for it. But I'm looking at you, America, right now, because I don't know how to handle this. I mean, we've done the peaceful protests. African Americans, everyone has done the peaceful protest, and it's still, your voice hasn't been heard. I don't know how to fix this situation. I'm hoping people that are much smarter than me, learn how to, fix this situation. Hopefully we can live in peace. But until that happens, I mean, I really don't know the best way to handle this.
Right. Peter, I mean, just your thoughts as the week has kind of transpired.
Yeah, it's a really unfortunate situation. I mean, I saw some of the video, and it was awful. Mm-hmm. And I think like you said, Nick, is three white guys sitting here. I can't pretend to understand what anyone else goes through. I actually can't pretend to understand what you guys go through in your life. I mean, I have never walked in your shoes. One of the issues I have is, you talk like Tamir Rice. I have a relative that's on the Cleveland Police Force. Some of these things, they get calls that are, hey, this guy, there's someone waving a gun around. Mm-hmm. The police have, they're coming in with a mindset. I don't know all the details of that. I don't think anyone ever will, exactly how that transpired. So I don't want to talk about that. Right. Mm-hmm. But this is a guy. They pull him over for writing bad checks.
Yeah, I think that was the initial thought of it.
Right. I mean, that's he wasn't. It wasn't like he's waving a gun around or what looks like a gun.
There was no threat. There was zero threat, and the man ended up dying.
And the way the officer just like calmly was kneeling on this guy's neck was insane. The thing that really upsets me about it, though, is I understand the protests. I understand what gets me is the riots, because I understand that there's anger, mm-hmm. but when you start destroying your own community, mm-hmm. And I'm sure it's just there's just a few bad apples that come into a protest and turn it into a riot. But when it gets to that, all of a sudden that overshadows everything else, mm-hmm. and it makes it so difficult to have a meaningful conversation about race in this country, because something bad happens, and then, like you said, Minneapolis looks like a war zone.
Yeah,
that overshadows everything.
But you have to get your voice out there somehow. And I once again, I don't like the fact that there are riots going on in our country. But the thing is how else are you going to express it if they're not paying attention to your peaceful protest, which everyone's been trying to keep it calm. Then what are you going to do? The top's going to explode. And that's exactly what's going on right now. And honestly, I was talking to my wife about it the other day. Like, I don't know how to go from here. Being where I'm at right now, we're going to have protests here, in Cleveland. They're scheduled for today. I talked about the Canton ones last night, and, tear gas, rubber bullets. I mean, SWAT was out in Canton last night. That's 20 minutes away from my house. I'm terrified that all of this terribleness that is going on between not just us, white and black, mm-hmm. green, brown, orange. I don't care who anyone is. Like, we as people need to come together, and that's why I think that it is necessary for us, once again, as three white guys, just that we need to stand up and we need to show that we are all for humanity. And we want everyone to come together. And the only way that we can do that is by getting justice for George Floyd.
I've thought about, what we were going to say, whether we were going to talk about this or not, and it is important that we do talk about this to start the podcast. And I'm going to look right into this camera right now, and I'm going to get this out, and I want people to listen. I know that there are people saying on Twitter and social media, if you don't like what I'm saying, go ahead and hit the unfollow button or hit the, unfriend me, whatever. I don't want that to be the case. If you disagree with me, let's have a conversation. because riots have broken out because people have tried to start the conversation, and that has not worked. As wrong as it is, and as, still kind of criminal act to go into a store, steal things, break things, we don't know what else to do. And we are not just 3 white guys, but in this room right now, white Americans. So we don't understand what other people go through of different color, different race, different backgrounds, different sexual orientation. But you better be we better be ones to stand up and say that it's not right the way that these people are being treated. We don't know what they go through, but we know it's not right.
Absolutely.
And we need leaders in this country on all sides of the table. I don't care what side you fall into on the political standard. This is not a political conversation. This is a human conversation. This is a human rights conversation. This is a character conversation. And yes, we do support our first responders, our nurses, our police officers, our firemen, but we also know that there are ones out there that are not doing it for the right thing. And the fact that there are so many police officers willing to speak out against fellow brothers and sisters in arms, in blue, about this, you know that they don't do that very often.
Right.
And there are so many videos of police officers across this country saying that it was murder. It was not a traditional police operation. And there are a few making the whole group of police officers look bad as well. And to the family of George Floyd, all I can say is condolences, sorry. But I don't know what else to say, because
nothing's ever going to bring him back. And that is the worst part about this.
Nothing is going to bring him back. Nothing is going to make this better until leaders step up and we actually have these conversations and we get past this. This is still going back to civil rights and beyond that. How are we not past this? It is because of leaders lacking the ability to have a real conversation. I heard President Hopeful and former Vice President Joe Biden yesterday say on CNN that while my grandpa was watching and it was in the background, I just overheard one aspect of it. Him saying, I don't want to be too open or too honest right now, or I don't want to say anything that I'll regret. But that is what we need right now. We need open, honest, reality-based conversation because humans are dying in the streets for no reason. And just because someone may go to their phone on their waist should not cause them to be afraid that they're going to lose their life for that. If we're going to allow people to run into state houses, and I fully support all of our amendments, all of our rights, but people wielding guns and causing panic in state houses across the country so that states will open, if we're going to allow that, and we know what kind of color-based that was, you better allow someone and go through the proper channels and operations before it escalates to a point that it did last week. And the other 3 officers that stood around, you are just as culpable. That cannot happen, and it needs to end. And again, if you disagree with us, what we're saying, have a conversation.
Yes.
Why do you disagree? Not, I'm going to unfollow you, you're not for this country, you're not for the flag.
You're against cops, you're against this, you're against that. No. Let's have that conversation.
I'm for the American flag, but I'm also for human rights and doing what the Constitution says. Equal rights for all. It doesn't matter what color or background you come from. We are human beings. We should not just always identify as white Americans, African Americans. Yes, that is your identification, but it should not be what people judge you based on. We should judge each other based on human interaction, human conversation, and all having the equal basis to stand on, to have a voice, and to act upon what we believe in, to have this country develop into what the Constitution says it's supposed to be, not how we interpret it from how they utilized it back in 1776.
Right. And I want to wrap this up here just for my talk, portion of it. The fact that it took 4 days to bring that man to being arrested and being arraigned, and I believe it's $500,000 for his bail money. I'm not saying all of this would have been, it would have changed everything had they arrested him like that day.
We know how things happen with these kind of cases, no matter
what. I mean, it doesn't matter that it was this case or another.
Right.
It doesn't matter. Like, once again, the top's about to explode on this entire country. And, I mean, I, for one, am terrified of living in a country that it's tough to believe in a certain thing or to go back and forth with everything. I believe in human rights, and I believe that we need to solve this issue that we've had in this country for, it feels like 400 years. I mean, if not longer. We need to be better as an entire human race. We need to come together, and we need to be a lot better than what we have been.
And as we transition back into our sports conversations we're having here today, you and I are trying to develop a career in this industry. We are not the only two trying to do that right now.
Right.
There are others that are already established, and we are trying to follow their path, and there are many people like us. And we are trying to gain opportunities in other avenues as well. I do not want opportunities because of the color of my skin. I want opportunities based on my merit, my work ethic,
yes,
and what I bring to the table. If that is not good enough and someone is better than me, no matter what background they come from, who they identify as, whatever that may be, if they are better than me, then that opportunity should go to them, and I need to work on myself to earn my opportunity. I want that merit-based system for opportunity, not any other advantage that may be out there. And that is where the conversation needs to start, and that's where we need to get to in this country. And it's not there, and it's unfortunate because I love our country. I love the United States of America. I love what the flag stands for. I don't know that we see what the flag is supposed to stand for actually being acted upon and being developed in this country at the rate that it should have been.
Agreed.
In 2020. But there is still sports that we need to talk about. And as tough as it is to transition, it's never easy to transition out of a difficult topic like that into sports. But there are Cleveland sports topics and things that people want to hear us talk about as well as we try to get into this industry. And you are clad in your brown and orange today.
That's right.
I decided to go because I wanted to break out a special pair of shoes today. I needed to have the sweatshirt match.
Of course,
it's a little cold.
of course.
So I got my LeBrons on. I got my red carpet LeBrons. Nobody can see them. I can't really lift my leg up to show them on the camera.
Come on, kick them up.
All right. Here we go. Look at these.
See, there we go.
Look at these bad boys.
Nice.
See, I told you. My shoe game is fire.
Today it is, for sure.
Yes.
Hell yeah.
I haven't been able to do that because I haven't gone anywhere and I can't really show off. I wear the shoes to show them off, let alone wear them because they're comfortable.
Good luck trying to do that on Zoom.
Yeah. Like, guys, I'm wearing a special pair of shoes around the apartment today just so that my rabbit Rajay and my girlfriend Jana can see him today because they see him every single day. But I figured, why not see him on my feet
why
today?
not?
Yeah. But you're clad in brown and orange, and there are a couple topics we need to touch on just briefly here. So first of all, main topic, Baker Mayfield has his press conference, his Zoom press conference with the media. First time we've heard him speak in a while.
Yeah.
Beyond if you're following him on Instagram or seeing some of his stories. I just saw him actually do a story on Instagram where Emily, his wife, was mowing the lawn with a weighted vest. They're getting a little workout in while mowing the lawn. So, and he's like, I think he tagged Progressive in it. Like, what are you guys doing at home? Or something. I don't know what he did with the caption, but he basically was saying that the time for talk is done, and he's getting back to his play on the field speaking form rather than being so open, boisterous, and allowing the moment of being in professional sports.
Just being loud in general.
Just being loud in general and not having the results translate on the field. We've heard that before, Do you believe him? What did you think? What did you make of his comments this week, Paulus?
I would like to believe him. I mean, new era coming in. I mean, with Kevin Stefanski, his new offense, I'd like to believe in Baker Mayfield that he's going to tone it down and do like a prove it. Sort of year, because you and I have talked about it. I think this is a make or break year for Baker Mayfield because he isn't married to Kevin Stefanski.
Right.
I mean, everyone in that arena that he was in, they all believed that Baker Mayfield was the guy. Now they're all gone. John Dorsey's gone, Hugh Jackson's gone, Freddie Kitchens is gone. All of everyone that was in that vicinity with him are now no longer there. So now he does have to prove it to Kevin Stefanski, and that is something that is intriguing to me personally, because you and I have been saying it, for the last 8 months. It feels like that he just needs to shut up and show it out on the field. And I'm really thinking and really hoping that he is going to be doing that. Time's going to tell. I mean, it's basically how it's all going to go down. We're going to figure that all out here, in the next coming couple of months. But I like the fact that he has people down there, like Austin Hooper, a new target for him, is down in down in Texas with him, doing routes, and they're talking about the playbook, and he spoke about that a little bit, and that makes me very happy to see that he's able to get these guys down there. That way he can brush up on the new the new playbook and everything that goes along with that. So I am looking forward to it. I am happy that he is saying that he is just going to shut up and play. It looks good. I think that's probably the best part about it, is that this all looks very good. And a lot of people, ESPN Diana Rossini actually states that she believes that they're going to make the playoffs. The Browns are going to make the playoffs. And she was one of the main go-getters last year to kind of put a damper on the season. She was saying, oh, they're not going to make the playoffs, or I think she even said that they're going to be 7-9 or 6-10 last year. So he's making her a believer. Colin Cowherd has actually, I know we don't like to say his name on this podcast, but he actually has come out and said that he does believe Baker is going to get into the playoffs this year. So I'm hoping that everything turns around, like what we hope should happen.
We've said it many times, and we go back and forth on this so many times. It is very hard to believe anything that is said coming out of Berea or wherever people are stationed now, because these words now are not coming out of Berea, where they should be doing OTAs and getting ready for a mini camp. They're coming out of Zoom meetings, things like that. People on mute, or Baker getting put on mute by the PR person and not being able to speak. So kind of going through those things, but you still listen to the words, and it's still important for them to talk and be able to say these things and have media conversations, have media availability. Those are all still important. Until we see the results, it's not going to fully matter. What I do take in, though, is the tone of the voice. And looking at Baker last year, just the confidence. And he did say to a certain extent, well, it's not going to matter what we say. It's going to matter what we do on the field. But he's still clapping back at people that are criticizing him.
Right. Rex Ryan.
He was doing more off the field than what ended up transpiring on the field. And we know that there's many factors that went into that, but he has to own up and take responsibility for his role in what happened last season. As much as we talk about bumbling Freddie Kitchens, he still has to take a role because he is the leader. He has to take responsibility, and he's done so. But I want this kind of Baker Mayfield who, just because he has to, he jumps on a Zoom meeting, talks to the reporters, gives them answers, and says, and just echoes what the coach is saying. We have to work. Now they really do have to work. We're working to be paid to talk as That's our
right.
jobs.
Yeah.
But his job is to play football and play quarterback in the most important position in all sports, play at the highest level to try to lead this franchise to where it's never been, and that is Super Bowl contention. That is his job. Jarvis Landry's job is to be a leader, to catch passes, open up lanes for Odell and other receivers and bring the young guys along, like Rashard Higgins. Hollywood
Higgins.
Shout out to the Next Level on 850 ESPN Cleveland and our guys Emmett and Gerard, and of course Matt Fontana behind the real glass, I guess.
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
Because we don't have real glass here. That's why I say proverbial glass. Whatever. But it's him, Higgins, and Donovan Peoples-Jones. And Jarvis Landry's already taken a liking to him and already kind of helped him develop. And now he's
put
on his
him right
team.
under his wing. And I can't wait to see what happens with that.
Right. And Nick Chubb's not going to say much, but his job is to...
Did you see his comment the other day?
I didn't. No.
So one of his, old, I don't know if it was an old Georgia lineman or whoever it was, but someone asked him like, "Hey, why aren't you on social media?" He goes, "Do you ever see a Lambo commercial? I don't need to do that." Like I speak for myself, sort of thing. And
Right.
I love that about Nick Chubb because he's absolutely right. He doesn't hop on social media. He doesn't need to be brash or bodacious or anything like that. He goes out. He does his job. That's why, for people out there, that's who I got on my phone right there.
Yeah.
My wife hates it, by the way. She absolutely hates the fact that I don't have a cute picture of us on there or anything like that. But I love Nick Chubb too. So
I got too many notifications on my phone right now that I'm not going to go through to show what my background is. But
Sure.
basically, it's just one of those like wallpaper Wednesday things from the captains. They put it like on a.
okay,
I like the gray jerseys.
is it with Jana?
No.
No. Oh, okay.
No, that's just my name. Just Arnold and number 16.
There we go. See.
I have my social media pictures. As the
Peter, I want to know who's on your phone.
The background of my
background of your phone.
background of my phone is
Yeah.
the default iOS one. I never bothered to change it. So
Nice.
my wife changes hers all the time, but no, it's
Yeah, Kelly hates the fact that I have, because previously on there I had Odell.
Yeah.
So I had Odell, in the meeting, everyone's all, hanging around him, Miles, Jarvis, and Baker. I had that photo on there, and but then I changed it to Nick Chubb, and then on my phone, yeah. So and then I got the Browns right there. I think that's what kills Kelly most, is that I don't have a single photo of us on there. Like I have, Facebook and I have those social media ones. It's with us on it, but.
So here's the background on my phone.
Okay.
You got the Lake County Captains. Shout out to them for the wallpaper. When you open the phone, of course, I can put the Face ID back on. It's not working right now. You can't really see it, but it's the Wycliffe percussion section, the famous Aquarius pyramid. Still got that on there. So, then I put of course, I have the couple picture on Facebook. I save Facebook for that because it's kind of more interactive in that way.
Family, everything like that, right?
Yeah. Instagram has my picture from training camp last year in front of the Brown sign.
Okay.
And then Twitter it's still a picture from like 3 years ago, I think. It was when, have you ever played the game Ninja? You guys know what the game Ninja is?
No.
So it's like basically when it's like getting like a circle. It's almost like a team building type game.
Okay.
But it's like this fun thing where you're like kind of acting like you're
like karate chopping.
Karate chopping, but you only have like one move, and if you end up hitting a person's hand, like that goes out.
Okay.
You gotta get like the limbs out.
Gotcha.
And then so you may be like standing like on one foot, but you only have like one move. Like if you take a step, that's your move. You can't.
Okay.
You can't chop, and then you go like around the circle. And you got to know which direction it's going to.
Okay.
So they always do that at band camp. When I was the drumline advisor at Wycliffe, they would always play that at, like in the middle of the week as some sort of like break in the action, because you're doing like 3 practices a day.
Yeah.
You're out in the hot sun. You're trying to like keep everybody from being too ornery. So one year someone brought like a big speaker and a microphone attached to it. And someone allowed me to go up on the scaffolding and put the microphone in my hand.
Okay.
When a microphone is in front of me, you know what I'm going to do. I'm going to talk. I'm just going to talk.
Right.
So I started doing a little play-by-play for the game of Ninja.
Okay.
And so it's a picture of me up on the scaffolding doing that. And so just because it looks like I'm doing some sort of play-by-play, so I thought it'd be perfect for my Twitter account, because I'm trying to use that as the additional platform to getting in the industry.
Absolutely.
So I got different, I have the couple picture one place,
right?
But it's not everywhere. So I don't know. I mean, I know that she's sitting over there. We'll get her thoughts probably after the podcast.
Of
but
course, yeah.
Let us know out there, is it wrong for us to not have our significant other as a background on our phone or as a picture across all social media platforms? Let us know. What do you think? What do you guys think out there,
Hey,
BTL fans?
Nick, does Kelly have your picture on her phone?
Yeah, of course she does.
Okay. Because
Day of our wedding picture.
Okay, because, well, I'm the only one of us with kids, so I think
Yeah.
my wife has the kids.
Okay.
Maybe.
And that makes sense.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
on the, I don't even, that or the dog.
Right.
I'm pretty sure I don't rank on there, so.
That
Yeah,
or the dog. Yep.
Yeah, I did see. I did see like a post because you were tagged in it, Peter, of the dog sitting all nice in the passenger seat of the car,
Oh, yeah.
and that dog's getting big.
He's 24 pounds, man. He's
Oh,
only like 4 months old, so he's yeah. My hands are all like scarred up from him biting because he's he's a puppy. He's chewing and
Yeah.
He's nipping.
he's nipping, and he will he was nipping at me this morning. I'm like, what do you need? He's well, he had to go outside, and he did his stuff. So I was like, okay, cool. You know, better than in the house.
Right. Oh,
So,
absolutely.
you know, I'll take that anytime. But it's like sometimes it's like. And sometimes he just goes nuts, you know. They just,
Oh yeah.
you know, they get like the zoomies because he's a lab mix, and he will just
everywhere,
Just-
going up and down.
and in our backyard, along our back fence, we have like a lot of like ivy growing, like the ground cover stuff. You know, it used to be a garden like 20 years ago.
Okay.
So it's not grass, and he will bound through that, like just like bounding through it, you know, behind the shed, just all over the place. He's a lot of fun, but it's like, man, I could do it without the you know.
Yeah,
Without all the biting.
Without the
Yeah.
flesh wounds, yeah. So
Well, speaking of dogs, we are talking about the Browns, who fans are considered the dog pound and everything like that. So just finalizing on Baker, I like the tone in his voice of kind of the quietness about him and just going about the work, getting guys together, being the quarterback that we need. Too much talent on this team. They need to have success on the field, and hopefully there is a season, somewhat of a season, where we actually get to see that. There's also someone that's been talked about adding more talent to this team in Jadeveon Clowney. Reports came out, and of course Adam Schefter to 850 ESPN Cleveland and the Next Level. That's where the story kind of blew up, that the Browns have offered the most money to him, but he hasn't accepted the offer, and nobody knows why. But Schefter was just saying,
And we don't know the exact numbers or anything like that as of yet.
Right. So what is the most money? Is it nowhere even near what he's looking for? So that's why he wasn't.
Right. Is it a 2-year, $30 million deal? Is it something along the lines of that? Right.
And Schefter is just deducing or inferring that he doesn't want to play in Cleveland because he wants to play for a winner. Now, if he wanted to play for a winner, he would have signed with Seattle already, because Seattle is a winning organization, and you have probably the best chance, more accurate chance or bigger chance to win in Seattle than you do in Cleveland. That's just facts. I know
that's common sense 101.
I know that Cleveland fans that like to get on and be all positive or roast people that talk bad about the Browns. Guess what? Reality check time again.
We haven't had a winning season since 2007. I don't have an issue with the way that Jadeveon is going about this.
Right.
Obviously, as those positive Cleveland fans that we are, we want him to come here to get us over the hump and get us into the playoffs, and everyone's viewing us as a playoff contender, and go on from that. But I understand where he's coming from. Us giving him the most money, though, I thought that may have swayed him, because I'm going to be honest with you, I think Jadeveon is more of a me guy than a team guy.
I would tend to agree with you on that one.
Right. So I would have thought that he would have been all about the money. That being said, if Cleveland is that big of a deterrent for him and he doesn't want to come here, then I don't want him here. I want people here that are going to help us get up over that hump. Once again, that's why we got Jarvis in here. Jarvis has changed the landscape. Is trying to change that culture here for us. Hopefully, we get that winning season and things change for the positive, and we go from there. Once again, we talked about Nick Chubb being that silent Batman sort of leader that he is, and that's something that we need. We need people that they don't need to voice their opinions. Once again, Baker. We don't need Baker to go out there and be all like, "Oh, we're in the playoffs. Respect us. Do this." We got to prove it. And Jadeveon doesn't believe that we can prove it. And that's if you're not gonna want to be here, I don't want you here then.
I want guys that want to be here and want to be a part of the process. Again, I know I said the P word. People don't like that word here in Cleveland.
Process.
It is a process. Reality check number 2 of this podcast. Reality check number umpteenth million that we've done throughout all of our episodes on this podcast. You got to be a part of the process. You need to be a part of that culture. And yeah, you want to get your money, and guys want these contracts, and the way that the NFLPA or players associations and all the leagues set things up. You know what you're looking at or what you could be agreed upon. You want your money, but you also want to be a part of winning. So if he wants to be here, great. Come on over here. If not, don't need you, don't want you here. Good luck to you. It's not anything against Jadeveon, but
wish you the best of luck as long as you don't go to Pittsburgh or Baltimore.
Right.
So
so if you don't want to be here, bye. Like I guess I can't even say bye because you were never here. So
right, and like let's not say, I don't want to put it out there like Jadeveon Clowney's a bum or anything like that, but he's not the greatest player of all time.
And he hasn't lived up to being a number one pick.
The dude hasn't lived up to be the number one pick. Yeah, absolutely, he hasn't lived up to that. I don't think he hasn't had double-digit sack numbers at all, and he's been in the league for I think 6 years now. I mean, there isn't that. He's not the guy that I'm like blown away by. Honestly, I think Vernon is the same exact player as what Clowney is. Yeah. If they're both healthy, they're both really good. They're not great. They're really good, though. Yeah. So if we can hope that Olivier Vernon is going to be healthy this year, you tag him with Myles Garrett, who hopefully doesn't swing a helmet, then I think we're looking at playoffs at that point in time.
Yeah, you're just looking for a complementary piece on the other side of the line that teams have to plan for and not be able to double and triple team or chip at Miles. Right. And you have guys coming off of both edges that are going to cause a problem. That's basically what people, and just hearing a big name like Jadeveon Clowney, that's where the intrigue from Browns fans came from. In terms of the other leagues that are trying to get back to play sooner than even football would even officially start, is basketball and baseball. And information has come out that the plan is for the NBA to try around the end of July to go to Walt Disney World, and which isn't open to people yet, but I think they're open. They're trying to open in the middle of July.
July 11th, I believe, is when they're opening.
There's a plan in place for that to open slowly and get the different parks open for that. But towards the end of July, the NBA trying to play, and not all the teams will be a part of that. So we wouldn't be talking about Cavs basketball actually on the court. All we're going to have is going to be the NBA draft and mock drafts, and whenever the lottery ends up happening, who knows when all that's going to happen, because everything is going to be pushed back. So teams like the Cavs that don't get to play, they won't get to play for a while, because you're going to have to start the next season at a different point than you've been accustomed to, which the NBA has talked about in the past. But there is a plan in place for them to get back going and try to get a playoff system working so that there is a finite result to this season like LeBron and some of the top players want. On the opposite side, of course, you got baseball, which is trying to come back, and there was an initial what could be in the offer when it came down from the owners of maybe pay cuts to players. Owners give that initial offer this week, and it's even less than what the players thought. And a lot of the players are coming out defending their whole group, saying, we thought we were going to only be taking this kind of pay cut. Now we're seeing more. Now we're really far apart, and we may not get baseball at all because of that. We've talked about guys that are only in it for themselves that maybe that should not be coming out in the way that they are, because they're still saying I. Most of the players, though, if you are criticizing them, actually listen to what they're saying. They're talking about we, and then the I comes in after, because they're looking out for their whole group of players. Which includes,
but then they're also looking at themselves.
Right, which includes themselves, but they're looking at it as a whole group to start out with. So you can criticize players that are still being just completely selfish and want everything, because there needs to be a compromise at some point. And make
Blake
sure you...
Snell, I got to get all mine. Right,
Blake Snell.
Well,
we got it.
We talked about that, right?
We talked about it. We got issues. We're moving past that. But also criticize the owners, because again, it's owners trying to control everything, and that's a huge problem in sports. They still want all their money. Guess what? You're not going to get all your money either.
Right.
Because the season will not be full. You won't be able to get the attendance numbers you normally do. The big market teams will be fine moving forward.
Well, for every home game that's missed, apparently you're missing out on, the owners are missing out on $650,000 on average, you know, across the board for MLB.
And I get that they are going to miss that money, and there's going to be teams that really suffer, like the Cleveland Indians, who we know owners already cheap in a certain sense, but don't have as much money as the big market teams. Yeah. So now you're going to have less to go off of and less chance to continue competing, building. You may have to go back to your minor league system and try to build that up again sooner than you thought. This is going to change a lot for a lot of teams, but you can't talk about one offer and then completely change it on people and blindside them. Which is exactly what MLB did. MLB has come out and they said that there was going to be a certain amount of cut downs. You're looking at about, the players only getting about half their money. Well, now the real cut down is if a player averages like $35 million, we're talking Bryce Harper, we're talking, like the upper echelon guys, they're only making and I say only making, $7.5 million. I mean, to all of us, absolutely, we'll sign up, we'll play. Make $7.5.
I was going to say, like, I'll play right field for that. Yeah, why not?
I can't make single digits.
Right, that's right. Can't make nickels. But yeah, no, I mean we're all about that. But to the players, once again, we had talked about this previously with Blake Snell. It's a guaranteed contract. What is that word? Guaranteed. Like, you need to get that money. Like, if you were promised that money, you should get that money. I know that there's a global pandemic, happening, but the owners are billionaires. They did sign you for a certain amount of money. I believe that those players should get that money. And if not that money, they should get more than that money, obviously. For it. I'm not saying like pay the players extra or anything like that.
Right.
But what you were guaranteed is what you should be getting. And that's my thought process of it. Obviously, like, I would love to see baseball players, come back this year. I don't think it's going to be happening because of all of this, distrust that has been going on between the players and owners. But that's been going on forever. This is just showing it all out. Peter, you want to say something?
Like, I understand where the players are coming from. I get it. I mean, the really bad thing about this is I think it just brings to the forefront how sports is a business.
Yeah.
And with so many people out of work, just scrambling to get by right now, I think it just gives it's a bad look for professional sports pretty much altogether. The NBA, I'm glad they're trying to come back. It'd be nice to have some kind of cap on the season. Hopefully football is going to go off without
it.
Oh, I know.
like we need football.
Right. We drove in past Progressive Field, and I'm like, man, I can't believe it's almost June and
I know
there's not baseball. But my question is, and I don't know who would even answer this. If you got a kind like Frankie Lindor, he's 2 years on his contract, right?
Yeah.
This year and next year. Well, if they don't play this year,
what happens in that contract?
What happens there?
Yeah. Is he, nobody knows. Nobody knows. Does that extend out to the following year? Because let's say he doesn't get paid for this year.
Right.
Like if he doesn't get his money this year, then you would think that it would just go on to the following year, but Frankie might not want that to happen. So did you just cut down on, one of his, this is, you and I had talked about this, the whole trade Frankie Lindor thing, from last year. We had talked about this. If, like, I was expecting Frankie to get traded like this year, because we're not going to keep him for a 1-year deal. Like, we're not, the Washington Nationals that just basically gave up Bryce Harper. I mean, they ended up winning the World Series, which is great, but they had other great players that they could stack around and go from there. I mean, you bring up a great point, Peter. We have no idea what's going to be happening with these players' contracts. Are they going to extend them out another year? I mean, it doesn't make any sense.
It's up to the league to figure that out.
Right,
it's
absolutely.
Up to the league to figure that
100%.
out and to be all as close to the same page as possible. And Peter, you're so right that it's tough to hear guys talking about they want their money when a lot of people are out of work. But understanding, if you are a sports fan, also understanding that sports is also a business and how it operates, what kind of money they're working with, the way that they're having the conversation. Some are willing to have that conversation in terms of, a collective unit versus me. That is where, and even for an owner saying me, that is a big problem, especially to come out and voice that when so many people are out of work and still dealing with that.
Could you imagine any owners coming out and being like, oh woe is me? Like, like I'm waiting for it. Like, I can't wait to hear, like, Dolan come out and say something like that.
Yeah, because then the question for them would be, so the business that helped you get that much money so that you could buy a professional sports team, what are you doing for the workers in that business that you still own? What are you doing to help them? Because they're not getting anywhere near what they normally would.
I don't want to rip on Dolan right now because Dolan has actually been really great throughout this whole process.
This is an owner conversation.
Right, this is
overall.
just an owner conversation because a lot of players, a lot of the minor leaguers, apparently, you know, there's going to be over 1,000 cuts.
Yeah.
You know, for these minor league systems, and and Dolan actually has come out and said that he's planning on still paying these minor leaguers up until I think June 30th, at least until June 30th, and their insurance is actually still extended throughout the entire season. So, like, I mean, thank God, you know, for Dolan for doing that. But I mean, this is an owner's centric talk is what we're talking about right now.
Yeah.
Not just one owner.
Yeah, more of a selfish talk, whether it's players or owners or whatever. They all have some fault in it, and they got to have those conversations. Just real quick, just around the table, because I know that where we stand right now, it looks more like basketball is going to come back and baseball won't. But things can change very quickly, and owners in basketball may cause some sort of problem in that, or someone may bring up a problem with the way that they want to set up basketball, and something changes, turns around in baseball.
Sure.
They have better conversations. Money down right now, which one comes back first or even this year? Basketball, baseball, Paulus.
Oh, basketball, 100%. I mean, they actually have a plan in place. I mean, baseball's still twiddling their thumbs. They have no idea what's going on. They can't figure out an exact price how to pay certain players, any of their players, you know, I should say. So, yeah, basketball for me. And I think that we're going to see an all-playoff format. I don't know if it's going to be a shortened playoff series or what. I personally would love to see them play the entire, 16-team fold out and, you know, do everything from that
see
point.
What happens with that too, because they've talked about getting rid of conferences once you get to the playoffs.
Right.
So this would be
top 16 teams.
This would be the year to test it.
I would love to see that, and then I mean that does mean that you're going to be starting. You know, the draft's going to be later, everything like that, and then we're looking at starting the season probably around Christmas time, which honestly is where it should.
Everybody's always wanted.
Which is exactly where I start paying attention to basketball because October, November, it's like, oh yeah, the Cavs are back, but by Christmas time, it's like that's whenever you know certain teams are what they are.
I love watching football on Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
But I'm weird, and I actually love the Christmas Day games in basketball.
Oh,
I love watching that throughout the day.
Yeah.
Of course, getting the family time out of the way, but I love watching the basketball games throughout the day on Christmas more than the football games on Thanksgiving because I'm just so focused on the food. Peter, I know it seems obvious right now, but basketball or baseball, which one comes back?
I have to agree with Nick. I think it's going to be basketball because baseball, it seems like the owners and players are just too far apart.
Yep.
Yeah. For me, I mean, yes, I think we're all in agreement. Basketball, not because we see more of a definite plan and they're moving in the right direction right now, because, again, we know things can change, time can change all, but I think with a larger voice that the players in basketball have and wanting to come back, a lot of them wanting to come back, and following the top player in the league right now, my dude, LeBron, following his lead, he's been kind of the main voice for that, and them all wanting this, they're going to find a way to play. I don't know that even with baseball players trying to come together and having that voice that they want to come back, but they want to do it the right way and come under the right parameters. Yeah. I think basketball comes back more so than baseball because of the player ability there.
Here's a question for you guys. Mm-hmm. So, LeBron, the voice of basketball.
Yep.
Who's the voice of baseball?
I was just thinking that as well. I mean, because you
There's
look
no
at
marketability.
You look at someone like a Mike Trout. I mean, who is by far the best player in baseball. You know, guaranteed Hall of Famer right now.
How often do you hear from him?
You never hear from him. I mean, he's a ghost. I mean, he doesn't have a voice out there. Probably the biggest talker in baseball would probably be someone like Bryce Harper. You know, but even him, like, I mean, he's come out against the against the payout format. You know, he was with Blake Snell, like, absolutely. So, but that's it though. I mean, there's no one else out there that really has a voice or really has that meaningful sort of voice. LeBron James is top 5 players of all time, easily. Yeah. But and Mike Trout could be the LeBron James of baseball, but there's nothing out there.
Yeah, don't get marketed the same way.
Right.
And when
baseball MLB is terrible with marketing. Yeah,
when baseball players speak, it is even the one that you hear the most, whichever one that is, I don't even know which one that is, it's a microscopic percentage compared to even an average player in the NBA, let alone a guy like LeBron James, and how vocal they're able to be and how marketed they are out there and advertised they are out in the world. All right, so we are getting to the end of the podcast here, and I know we teased it, and I don't know how much time we have.
We got about 10 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So just because we talked about movies and, sports movies that have kind of come out, and people are having those conversations, and people are saying, well, you have these 3 sports movies,
right,
or these 3 movies, or these 9 movies, which 3 are you keeping? Those types of things, those types of trends out there on social media. And, of course, last week we saw that we just passed the 40th anniversary of one of the best Star Wars movies of all time, Empire Strikes Back. And, Paulus, I know that you have that rated as your best Star Wars movie.
Absolutely.
Now, you guys don't have to go in any order, but just top 5 favorite movies of all time. Paulus, you wanted to get the conversation going.
Yeah.
I know that we kind of start this way. We just kind of tend to go in the natural position. I'll start with Peter next week when you're not here. Cause,
gotcha.
Yeah,
we'll go from there.
Go with the other P. But
right.
Just your top 5, because I know that you've had this itching and on the tip of your tongue for 2 weeks now.
Absolutely. For me personally, and once again, this is in no particular order or anything like that. These are my favorite movies. It doesn't mean that they are the greatest movies of all time. Once again, I love Empire Strikes Back. Once again, we just talked about it, the 40th anniversary. It is Star Wars. I grew up watching that movie almost on a daily basis. That and A New Hope, and Return of the Jedi is a little, I don't know. Like I love Return of the Jedi. I mean, it's top 5 Star Wars movie for me for sure. But it's one of those movies where it's like it just didn't catch me like it does.
Right.
The other movies. The Dark Knight, obviously, huge Batman fan.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think that you could pick. That is by far for me. Superhero movie wise, I mean, it is right there with everything else out there. I think it's better than everything else just because of the real
to the DC rule too.
It really is. It really is. I mean, Christopher Nolan is one of my favorite directors. He actually has a new movie coming out, Tenet. I don't know. I was going to say, it looks fantastic. I'm really looking forward to that. Actually, the new Batman, Robert Pattinson, is going to be in that movie as well.
Okay.
So, we'll get to see his acting skills, play out before the Batman
outside of
comes
the
out.
Twilight.
Twilight. Right. Now, I've never watched any of those movies, nothing like that. So I'm going to give him a pass for those.
Yeah. I can't even remember what the other guys. It was like, are you an Edward or a?
Yes.
I don't know.
I don't know. But I'm really looking forward to seeing that. Jurassic Park. Love Jurassic Park. I think it is by far the best one of the series. The original one. I actually just watched it the other day with Kelly. I love that movie so much. The Departed. Okay. Leonardo DiCaprio is my favorite actor, and I think he is just a voice for us out there. I mean, and he plays the perfect character in that movie. I mean, you have Matt Damon in the movie, you have Mark Wahlberg. I mean, literally the cast is crazy. Jack Nicholson, fantastic all the way through. And then my favorite comedy, Dumb and Dumber. I gotta have Dumb and Dumber on that list. Now, I don't think it's the greatest comedy or like the greatest film of all time or anything like that, but to me, I love that movie. I could quote that entire movie all the way through. Just so amazing all the way through. Love it.
Peter?
Wow, it's funny because I was writing down a list and I couldn't come up with just 5.
Right.
And so
it's tough.
It is tough because there's so many good ones out there. And honestly, Nick, Empire, like you said, Empire.
Yeah.
To me, growing up, that was the fact that it ends on the bad guys winning. The way that that whole movie was, how dark it was for what it was. What just stuck with me.
That's why I love Infinity War, by the way. Like over Endgame, I love Infinity War just because it's dark.
It's so human, right? Because it's like it doesn't
the good guys winning.
It doesn't. Well, it doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't tie everything up in a nice little bow. But yeah, in Jurassic Park, I remember seeing that in the theaters when I was in high school when that came out. I mean, I was blown away by that, and really,
it still holds up.
It does. And I've watched it with my kids. They watch it. but like Office Space for me. I mean, I worked in a cubicle farm in the 90s.
Oh yeah.
And that movie is just so
It hits you.
freaking dead on.
Yeah.
I told Bill that if you move my desk one more time,
I'll burn down this whole place.
I do have a red swing line stapler, so.
Do you?
Oh yeah. It might actually be here.
Yeah.
But
I'm gonna need you to come in.
Oh yeah.
Saturday.
Totally. I mean,
We all had.
it was just so. I work for a tech company, a tech-centric company. Like back then, it was like, man, it hit home. Great movie, Indiana Jones.
Yep.
It's a toss-up for me between Raiders, loved Raiders, but also The Last Crusade. Because Sean Connery is so freaking good as his father.
I'm a Last Crusader over Raider, and I love I love I love it. So,
and then like MCU, there's so many great movies in there, but the one that really stuck with me was Guardians, the first Guardians, because the soundtrack for that movie is just so.
It's the best.
I don't know if you could have a better soundtrack.
I actually have the album.
Yeah,
I have the vinyl of it.
Do you? Okay,
I love it.
I have a Spotify playlist that is the soundtrack.
I got Pandora.
The volume 1 and 2.
I'm about to watch Guardians tonight now.
Yeah, it's just that was great. But I also like a lot of like the Simon Pegg movies. Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah,
it was just Baby Driver was a great movie with the music and the timing.
You know what?
I haven't seen it.
Baby Driver is fantastic. You have to watch it. I got a bunch of my friends. I came out. We came out. Kelly and I. I'm pointing at my wife over there. We came out and we saw Baby Driver, and I thought it was like one of the best movies I had seen all year. A couple of my friends went to go see, it and they're like, I mean, it was okay. It was. I loved it though. I'm right there with you, Peter. It's so good.
The timing and the Edgar Wright, the way. If you go on YouTube, you can find like a breakdown of Baby Driver, and of how it's edited, and just how tight that movie is edited to the soundtrack, and it's like, you don't realize the thought that goes into something. Some movies are just sloppy,
right?
And but that's a great movie, and like you said, The Departed. I didn't even think of that one.
Yeah.
Until you said it, because that is just one of those movies where it blows you away.
I think there are better mob movies out there. Like Goodfellas, Godfather 1 and 2. Like I think those are better overall mob movies. But just the way that they play it out and the characters involved in that movie, I don't think it gets any better than that. And I could watch these 5 movies. I could watch over and over and over again, and that's why they are my top 5 movies.
Like I said, I mean, there's so many. Dogma, great movie because it was just so out there. Boondock Saints.
Yeah,
that's a great movie. There's, like I said, I can't pick 5.
Yeah, it's tough to pick 5. How much time do I have? I mean,
I'll give you the floor. So,
I mean, I don't know if I'm gonna go with full 5, and it's not even like any particular order. But when you mention this one movie, I know it's gonna be weird to people hearing this and being the first movie that comes out of my mouth. But you guys have already said so many good ones. Space Jam is one of my favorite movies of all time because it holds a special place for me. Because it's a basketball movie. I grew up with the history of it and Michael in there, but also loving the Looney Tunes. And it was the first movie I ever got a chance to see. My aunt took me to, my godmother took me to in the theaters. One of the special moments I've had with her. So it resonates with me on a deeper level than just being a fun sports movie with Jordan winning at the end, he able to extend the arm.
Spoiler alert.
If you haven't. We don't give spoilers on here. If you haven't seen it by now, you know that it's a problem that you're getting a spoiler.
Movie, right? Yeah.
Yeah, but so that holds a big place for me. It's hard to pick some of the top ones in the MCU, but I mean, I'm a movie franchise guy. I'm summer blockbuster guy, and maybe that's a lack of culture on my end in the movie sense. But I don't get into a lot of the movies that come up for Academy Awards and stuff. My movie time of the year is the summer blockbusters that get the D ratings by all the critics, and I just love all the action. Like, I know that Transformers, I can't watch it all the time, like all those movies,
Right.
but every now and again, I just need like robots exploding.
Right,
and,
exactly. No, you're right. Sometimes that's all you want. I mean,
yeah,
Yeah.
like I don't care if there's a storyline or not. Just give me
Just
robots.
explode.
Just yes.
right.
on,
Independence
Bumblebee.
Day. Right, Independence Day. Great,
Yeah, oh,
great movie.
love-
Stuff blowing up everywhere.
Love Independence Day.
That
Great
was
movie.
That was a movie I was going to bring up. Like I can watch that even when it's not Independence Day because
I watch it every Independence Day.
Yeah,
though, like
I do too. But like I love just like the lines in there. I love that movie. MCU of course, Guardians of the Galaxy, Civil War, the Avengers movies are really good for me. And I mean, there's so many good comedies. I love that you brought up Office Space because that is a movie I can watch
Great.
over and over again. And it's weird because we actually watched that going down to Disney World. And I think it was Disney World. There was some sort of like school trip that we watched it on, and we started like hearing like this rap, like the rap music, but it wasn't the edited version at first.
Right.
Nice.
So I was like, all right, like this is the kind of music I get into. Like I love this kind of element to this movie. And like the Dumb and Dumber, the Happy Gilmore, the Adam Sandler kind of comedies. Heck, I even love both. Oh my goodness, I can't even. I just had it in my head and I can't even think of it. Where it's like Schneider and Kevin James and Sandler.
Was it Grown Ups?
Yeah, Grown Ups. Grown Ups 1 and 2. Like I just sometimes you need that sort of just dumb comedy too. Like I love those kind of movies. I'll get into some of the Academy level ones every now and again, but I can't watch those over and over again.
Yeah.
When I love a movie, I know that I can go back and watch it over and over and maybe spend too much money at the theater to see it over and over and over again before it comes out and it's more accessible like on Netflix and things like that now.
There's a couple of things that popped up. I love Guardians of the Galaxy. It is my favorite MCU movie. So I mean that is right up there for me as well. Logan, the Wolverine.
I have not seen that yet, but I need to.
I'll bring it next time. Next time I see you, I'll bring it up. It is
3 weeks.
Right? Yeah, 3 weeks from now. It is. I love Wolverine. Yeah,
Yes.
like Wolverine is just amazing. Hugh Jackman. I mean, he played the part for like 20 years. I mean,
he's good in that Greatest Showman too.
we just watched that the other day. Yeah,
That's a great one too.
That's a really good. That's really good. I am not. You're not going to be a fan of me. Because I think the most overrated movie of all time is Space Jam.
Really?
Yeah, I do, and it's cool that you love it, and I know a lot of people do.
I understand why you think that.
A lot of people do.
Yeah.
I just like every time I can't watch Space Jam anymore, and I don't know if that's like the LeBron fan in me that just like I'm like over Michael Jordan, everything about Michael Jordan, I'm just over.
Yeah.
But I can't watch it, and I'm not gonna lie to you, like whenever we do Space Jam 2, LeBron's gonna be coming out, I think next summer, and like I'm not gonna be rushing out to go see that.
I will.
I know you will. I know you will, but I get
first one in line for Space Jam 2. As soon as tickets come available, I will buy them.
See, there you go. But like for me personally, I don't know. Like I just view it as an overrated movie. But that's me, and I respect you for putting it as one of your favorite movies.
One I forgot to mention.
Yeah.
Speaking of sports movies, Field of Dreams.
Great movie.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
If you build it, they will come.
I get goosebumps every time I watch that movie, and like I cry every time too.
That's acceptable.
That is totally acceptable.
Birth
for
of a
that
child, death of a parent, and
Field of Dreams. That is perfect.
And another baseball movie I really love as a sports movie is The Natural.
The Natural's very good.
I love
with Robert Redford.
I love that movie too.
Yeah.
Someday we'll have to like break these down like top 5 in like different categories. I think
next time we come on, the three of us, let's do a top 5 sports movies.
Yeah,
let's do that.
Because then you get in like the whole realm of Disney and Disney Plus and what it has to offer. Like you got Pixar,
everywhere.
you got the Disney movies. Like
right.
You could just go into so many different realms.
Oh,
there.
absolutely.
But we probably went a little bit longer today, but such fun and meaningful conversation as well. I know we started with the unfortunate events in Minneapolis and what's going on around the country. Just want to rehash that, we believe everybody should have equal rights, and we try to do this for everybody, not for one particular audience, and no one ever wants to do anything for one particular audience, and everybody has what defines them, but also it should not be the only thing, because there are so many other elements to each person that are so unique, so cool, and that's what makes this country and this world so great, is just the diversity, the elements that you get to see, whether we are into it or not, just the culture. We talked about culture with movies. If you love Academy Award movies and you love breaking those down and going to watch those every year, all the nominees, great. Continue to do that. Do what you're passionate about, love what you do, and let's respect and love what other people are passionate about as they love and respect what we do as well. So on that note, from all of us here at the Voice of the Land podcast, for Nick Paulus, for Peter Tellett, for Nick Paulus's wife Kelly in the background, and of course Peter's son, who is joining us today as well. Happy anniversary to you guys.
Thank you.
We will see you. The fans will see you in a couple weeks, and of course I'll see you in 3 weeks. I am Kevin Arnold, reminding all of you Voice of the Land fans out there, all of you sports fans, don't let anyone ever tell you it's just a game. And honestly, in this difficult time we find ourselves in this country, whether it be COVID-19, to all of our frontline workers, everybody out there, and in other circumstances we have going on, to all people everywhere, we love you all truly, 3,000. Thank you so much for listening. I will see you next week in some form or fashion. See ya.